Hello, dear folks. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow hosting with G&E TV, the EastToWest show, exclusively sponsored by Paul Battaglia, BP Aristo, best known for their internationally renowned Italian style men's suit that adopts the nanotech technology, which makes the material wrinkle-free and water-resistant. That represents the both fashion and the tradition. Oh yes, of course. It is worth to mention their Aristo 18, that golf theory. Oh, you play lots of golf, right? I better get used to it from head to toe. Yeah. And that also stands for fashion and sports. So thank you for sponsoring. Back to the show. When talking about the summit of the G20 summit, though, I have my last question remaining. Shall we touch that, please? Sure. Okay, please. Now, suppose in today's world, you have to make one choice between the two. More money or more stability? What do you choose?
Well, of course, it's stability. Well,
all right, good.
Yeah, so basically the G20 has a main theme that President Xi Jinping said, we're going to focus on green economy.
Green economy and also safer economy.
Correct.
And we'll talk no more attacks.
Yeah.
No more bloody attacks. No people dies from those attacks, right? That is the efforts. Do you think that the G20 together will take care of the terrorism issue?
Well, they definitely discuss the terrorism issue. And so in addition to that, they want to make sure that eventually the world will become a free trade and a fair trade globe economy. In other words, they're thinking of removing all the tariffs when we exchange good. So I think eventually that's going to be good for all the countries. For all the countries. And China's U.S. #1 trading partner, and U.S. is China #1 trading partner. Before that, there was the European Union, but with the British X out of that, U.S. is true #1 trading partner.
Exactly. The exit of England, UK, out of European Union is really a big move of our time. I would say our time of this century, though. It is a big thing. So the impact after that exit is going to be really a big open for these 20 countries to work together. That is probably another opportunity the world has offered people, right?
Well, that's true. The world is changing at all time. I mean, you would think that British being in the European Union would probably benefit for the European Union as well as the British, but they choose they choose to be out of that, and they have to set up their own agreement with all the other international nations. I think the effect is yet to be seen in the next 2, 5, 10 years. So nobody can predict 100% at this moment.
Also, as time allows us, when one union collapses, I mean, the European Union sooner or later going to be dismissed anyway. That's my take.
I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, are you right? Are you serious?
Sure
okay. All right, we'll talk about that. Okay. That's another issue another day. But during that open, though, people are anxious to look for another way of putting people together. That there comes a G20. Is that right?
That's true.
By logic.
That's true. You know what? Then I think the European Union as a whole has better negotiation powers, and they have up and downs. But the world is moving together. So by separating those countries individually, it does not do any good for individual countries. So I think it's beneficial for European unions and to work together, so that both the China and the U.S. would have one solid good terms with all the European unions.
All right, thank you very much. So much for G20, because we really have to move on, because we planned to talk about G20 a little bit, and we will focus ourselves on the 2016 U.S. presidential election, right?
Okay.
Which is a big one. For this election so far, I believe starting 2 years ago, especially last year during summertime, you and I talked a lot about the U.S. presidential election, right?
True.
Now that we're down to the last 1 month and a half, we really need to be serious, more serious about it.
Yes.
So far, what do you see?
Well, first, the U.S. election to me is one of the very, very interesting and exciting election in the world. Okay, it's unique in many aspects.
Okay.
A lot of people do not realize that they're not necessarily elect the most talented people. Let me tell you why. You need to have a lot of political capital in order to be able to participate in the U.S. presidential election.
All right.
You take a Democratic
That's
Party, for
interesting
example.
point, yeah.
A lot of governors, politicians, and business people, they're way far more talented than, say, Hillary Clinton. However, but she has the most political capital. That's why that she can win that. Same thing with Donald Trump. He has been preparing for this moment for the last 10 years. From his own television apprentice and other things, his wealth, the money, his publicity. So he also gained political capital. So in other words, not necessarily these are the two most intelligent and best, fit people,
they are the most prepared.
But they have the most political capital. By saying that, now we're going to analyze the pros and cons for each candidate. Well, before I say that, we have to admit that we have elected the president or some presidents, for example, that we are not necessarily super happy about it. Okay, so sometimes,
which is a fact.
Yeah, sometimes after the first term, and you say, "Gee, I wish I did not elected that president. I wish our country was not dragged into war that way." So in other words, it is extremely important for U.S. people to use their conscience to choose the correct president for the U.S. We still have 3 debates. I think it will yet to see their issues.
Yeah, that we know
they
for
stand
principle.
on issues.
That we know for principle already. But to Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, though, who do you see? What do you see that has the most? You mentioned the political assets, and you mentioned about a charisma, something like that. Who does it, please?
Well, first, I think both of them are not very young anymore. I think that they're about 69. So,
and
we
68?
can, yes. 68, 69. We can call them still be energetic.
They are.
Yeah. However, I think we need to look further about each individual character and personality and what they are standing for, so that you will not be able to just see the superficial effect, but you will see the deeper content. I'm going to comment on each one of them. Take a Hillary Clinton, for example.
Okay.
She has been working in the public service for more than 40 years.
Right.
She has met with more than 20, 50, other countries, administrators. She has a lot of experiences how to deal with that.
You're right.
So in terms of experiences, dedication, contribution, definitely she has worked very hard than anybody else. And also, given that so far the economy is pretty good, the unemployment rate is 4.9. I think she can take it right, and she said she will further from that platform get to the country to the better from this point. Now that's from those who support Hillary Clinton, and that's also what Hillary Clinton was saying to the voters.
That's her home base.
Yeah, for Donald Trump, though, he has not worked in public service, but he has worked in many other business areas, TV shows, public figures, among many others. So, and also nowadays, people sometimes want to change. They don't want professional politicians. They want someone to come in with a fresh mind.
All right.
And Donald Trump does have a fresh mind. He will do things differently from Hillary Clinton for sure. And also, one of the important issues is that people are looking for is the economy. You know, are they going to have a job in next 2, 3, 5 years? Are they going to be able to buy a house in next 5 to 10 years? In other words, they care a lot about the economy. So Donald Trump is business people. He knows how to actually better to adjust the business environment, how to actually stimulate, for example, investment, how small businesses are struggling, how to reduce some of the ridiculous restrictions that people cannot build buildings, warehouses, business infrastructures. So he himself has said that, you know, a lot of people would buy an island, build infrastructure or something, but it's going to take 20 years for permission. For permission alone. So he's different mind, a fresh mind. So you know, he also had to use unconventional way to clear up the field in the primary. So he's very different. Very different.
By the way, so far I start to like your analysis already, because it sounds no BS. It is a very fair, very reasonable. Let's take a very short moment out. I have lots of questions to raise. I would hope that you might have answer it, right? So stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Hello, dear folks. Welcome to the show, dear fellow Americans. You must be interested in the content with the EastToWest show, which is exclusively sponsored by BP Resto, best known for their Italian-style men's shoes using nanotech technology, which makes the material wrinkle-free and water-resistant, and their Resto 18 Golf Series that combines fashion and culture and sports. So thank you for sponsoring. Oh, by the way, this is the Paul Bottani. They're one of their Italian suits. How do I look?
Good.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you for sponsoring. Back to the show, though. When we talk about Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, though, on the Hillary Clinton side, people tend to say, hey, for the past 10 years, we're doing so much better than the year before. And for this president's presidency, we had a 4.9 unemployment rate. We created XYZ numbers of jobs or so on and so forth. It tends to do that way. My question is that in the same time, I have watched for the past 8 years. That's how much? That's 8? Is that 8? Okay. 80 years of the being politically correct, right? The politically correctness is making me so sick and tired of hearing. Look back, we have the legalization of same-sex marriage, okay? We have the unisex bathroom on school camp, and we have the abortion issue, so on and so forth. It looks to me they are all mandatory. They are all on top issues. Okay, my question automatically that crashing upon me is that, is this country of 300 and more million people just focusing on sex and the aftershock of sex? My question, answer please.
Well, you nail that to the point. Well, first, I think one of the main reasons that Donald Trump is able to attract a lot of audiences is that he does not want to be politically correct.
Can you say louder for the record, please? Yeah.
So I think that Donald Trump does not want to be 100% politically correct. In other words, and people are sick and tired of being politically correct. As you have mentioned, there are a lot of important issues that people can focus and discuss on. but instead a lot of distractions, as you have just mentioned also. This is why the majority, or silent majority, will say, I had enough of this political correctness.
Exactly.
I want someone to focus on the issue, okay, getting things done.
All right.
Now, sometimes they say that in order to get someone for the important things done, you must use unconventional way, and you cannot be politically correctness all the time.
Please, sir, allow me a little insertion, please. It looks to me the whole country is kind of taken as a ransom. When I say ransom, don't blame me for using too much a word. It is a ransom. For example, if I create a law saying that everybody wearing glasses like Jack Chow does shares the same equality, nobody can degrade them for having the same right of democracy as you have two eyes. All right, now, when this issue, when this slogan is put there, no matter you support it, no matter you go against it, whoever you are, you dare not say a word.
Well,
because when you say, hey, it's unnecessary to make that kind of a law, and then you are discriminating people such as Jack Chow.
Well,
so nobody says anything.
Well, again, it'll come to the point that what is correct and what is not correct and what is politically correct.
It is the political correctness that kills us, that is killing us. Your comment on the political correctness, please?
Well, again, as I said, to be politically correct is okay, but you cannot overemphasize political correctness. When you look at some of the issues, a lot of them occupy main media more than 80% of the time. From common people like you and me, I don't think it's a big deal. You know, who is choosing what restroom is not a national priority. No, it is not.
But they made it national
priority.
That's
exactly that.
Such as in California, they have laws there already.
Well, that's exactly. I think people, want someone who is not wanting to have a political correctness like Donald Trump. He actually said those issues could be decided by local level.
Yeah, by that extent, I would say probably the country needs a little change to offset.
That's correct.
Offset the politically correctness.
That's right. And being politically correctness does not solve anything. That does not solve everything.
Being politically correct is very, very dangerous. Let me point out to you. If I make a bill to create a law, say everybody that wears 6 fingers instead of 5 is equal to have the same right as everybody that has 5, right? Now, if that is put on the table for a bill to discuss, nobody is going to vote against it because when you do, you are discriminating people with 6.
Well, that's why. That's why I think.
Even if you say, "Hey, it's unnecessary to make up that law," though, you are still going to. Well, you can easily, be against the equality, issue. So, being afraid of that, everybody backs up, so that we have laws created. The bathroom law, the same-sex marriage laws, the abortion laws, so on and so forth. And that's why I say, like just now I said, is the country of 300 million and more, we have nothing to do but sex and the consequences of sexes?
Well, I think, sometimes they definitely lose track and lose focus. And, we're Chinese Americans, so when you look at the American policy and the Chinese policy, sometimes you can say in different ways, to say there's too much democracy in this country, too much. The reason I'm saying that, it is too much. You let the people, the media, to prioritize the minor issues while they're not focusing on the important issues. Take a Chicago crime rate, for example. Every month, about 400 to 500 people being killed on street. Okay, they have confiscated more than 60,000 guns so far. So they're talking about pretty much every minute or two that the guns.
Underground
and yet, Chicago has among the most strict gun laws in the nation. So, are we solving the problems? Is the government solving the problems? It does not look like so. It is actually, they said the crime rate is the worst over the last 20 years. Now what we're going to do, you're going to use a non-conventional way to solve the problem. You cannot have 100% political correctness. In other words, whatever we're doing now is not solving the problem.
Are you saying that Donald Trump will do the job, such as, okay, now, we take Chicago, for example. Take Chicago as a sample piece, right? Do you think Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump can do a better job in getting the crime rate down?
Well, I think both of them have the ability to solve the issue. However, the Chicago crime rate and the situation does need an unconventional way to solve that.
What do you mean by unconventional?
Well, you know what? Let's say China is helping to control the Chicago street, for example. They will take the gang members and put them in Siberia. Okay? Yeah.
Okay.
They're going to take these people over there, so
yeah.
they're going to stabilize the situation first.
To
so
my dear audience,
it might be a little bit different.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for saying that. But to my audience, I have to declare that whatever I say here represents myself, only myself, as being Jack Chow. Neither do I or do the statement represent the show, the organization, EDI of G&E TV. Of course, the same principle applies to my guest.
Correct.
Whatever he says represents himself.
It's personal opinion.
Yeah, personal opinion. Okay, anyway, for that, I will wrap this segment and come back, see you after another while. Hello, my dear folks. Welcome to the, I call it a discussion, all right, with my good friend, Dr. Fu, at this EastToWest show, which is exclusively sponsored by BP Aristo, best known for their internationally renowned Italian-style men's suit, such as the one I'm wearing, and also their Aristo 18, the golf series, which combines life with sports and, of course, fashion. So thank you for sponsoring. And to my friend, Dr. Peter Fu, I really appreciate the fact that you are so frank, so honest. You're good at it.
It's my own opinion.
Speaking your own opinion.
I don't want to be politically correct
so am
all
I.
the time.
And because you and I decided we want to forget politically correct for a while, for the time being, right? Okay. Let's keep forgetting to forget the political correctness. So let's go on. Now, lots of people say, even forget the comment or giving whatever. How do you rate Obama and Obama's service or his administration? Forget that part. Do you think Hillary Clinton would do a continuation of Obama legacy, or she will create something of her own? And on the right-hand side, though, for Donald Trump, do you think he is strong enough or ready enough to overturn or to offset too much we are gone on to the left?
Well, I think first, Hillary Clinton has a lot of benefit by staying in President Obama's main policy. That means stabilizing.
Okay.
Stabilize. You don't want a major up and down. And also, Bill Clinton, the former president, can definitely help a lot too. So I don't think Hillary Clinton will stay exactly the same as President Obama, but I think she will develop and find a new ground to further the economy development.
Will she stay on the political correctness?
I personally don't think, you know what, she has a lot of choices to correct it too much about political correctness. On the other hand, Donald Trump probably could not care too much about political correctness. In other words, if for a thorny situation, okay, hard issues, like what I said about a Chicago Street issue. Personally, I think Donald Trump has better ability to clean up this kind of issues.
I see.
But in terms of the overall going to the stable economic route and continue the good economic and political and foreign policies, I think Hillary Clinton definitely has his advantage.
In that case, I really wish both of them are the presidents of the United States.
Actually, you're right. I mean, if they can
put them
combine,
together. Okay.
if they combine,
Let's combine
the good points of both of them.
Let's cut over.
I think it would be great.
Let's cut the Oval Office into two.
Well,
so
you know
two
what,
halves.
that's unlikely, but I think both parties should learn from each other.
That exactly depicts how people think,
Yeah,
right?
they should learn
We're
from each
even
other.
thinking funnily, talking about to cut the Oval Office into two halves so that we don't lose the part of Donald Trump, we don't lose the part of Hillary Clinton.
Well,
right? Which is impossible.
It is very important to realize that we as Chinese and Americans, we want the U.S. and China to have a healthy and a stable relationship. How the deal with East China Sea, Southern China Sea is vital to both of these countries.
Yeah, those are just too far from us.
And,
We're talking about things around us, things nearby us, though.
But that is important for any of the candidates when they took the office. They could, continue to keep it stable, or they could say, you know what, I'm going to do something drastic. So this is something that I am worried a lot. I don't want any region to have more attention, especially between U.S. and China in the maritime, in the water territories.
Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Hello, dear folks. Welcome to the show, dear fellow Americans. You must be interested in the content with the EastToWest show, which is exclusively sponsored by BP Resto, best known for their Italian-style men's shoes using nanotech technology, which makes the material wrinkle-free and water-resistant, and their Resto 18 Golf Series that combines fashion and culture and sports. So thank you for sponsoring. There is another issue that I want to check with you. 2 days ago, Hillary Clinton made a point that 3 days ago, when Donald Trump was in Mexico City, right, making his speech, Hillary Clinton gave a comment saying that, do we trust those fingers that are close to the button, right? So, of course, everybody knows that she's worried about the nuclear button, right? Do you think, okay, that goes to my question, do you think who will do a better job between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump at international affairs, please?
Well, you know what? I think that's a great question. I think Hillary Clinton will continue Obama's policy to keep the foreign policy consistent. But I think that Donald Trump is going to look at the more of a practical way. He has already said that they're not going to support financially forever for the NATO cost. Okay?
Yeah, he mentioned that.
And he said,
about
if
85%
he said,
of the nations are not paying for their
he
own
said
defense.
if Russia want to lead the role to clean up the ISIS, let them do it. I don't think anything wrong with that. That's another fresh way to look at the international issues.
I see.
Personally, I don't think ISIS is that scary. They have been confined to the smaller area. Sooner or later, that's going to be gone. So how to look at the bigger international issue is very important.
All right.
So Donald Trump's look at, who's going to pay what? Do we still want to continue to be the world police? Or do we want to be the world economic leader? So that's why that a lot of people are thinking Donald Trump has the ability to lead, and at the same time, a lot of people think that Donald Trump has what is called, temperamental or unfit. So it's a very unique situation. Unique situation.
Are we safer to say that Donald Trump has a newer take of an international relationship, whereas Hillary Clinton has more experiences in dealing with other countries?
That's exactly. Donald Trump will take new approaches to solve the new issues. They're different. They're very different. I mean, Hillary Clinton will say, we want to be stable. They're going to continue this same route, continue to go that. And then Donald Trump say, look, I'm going to look at a different way to solve problems. For example, the previous U.S. policies has called routine changes, and they have done that. They get rid of Saddam Hussein, they get rid of Gaddafi, and they have called Assad to resign. And those we call the routine changes.
Okay.
Now, the Donald Trump said, you know what, why do I have to call routine changes? You focus on the issue. If Russia can do the job better, let them do it.
In other words, among the nations, all the nations, whoever can do the job better than
That's
the US,
exactly.
better than the U.S., let them do it.
Exactly.
If you can't do it, let us take over. Now that you say you can do it, let them do it.
Why not?
It doesn't hurt the U.S. anymore.
Why not?
Right?
Yeah, I think that's
that's a good take. That's a
very important.
Take,
one thing for sure is that the American people are sick and tired of wars.
Yeah, we are.
Sick and
we
tired
are
of
so sick and tired.
military interventions, for whatever reasons. Okay, they have gone to wars using different reasons: democracy, freedom, among many others issues. But in reality, they're going for oil, they're going for money, they're going for control. It's actually benefit for the defense industry. It's nothing to do with the democracy.
If you would allow me, sir, shall I go a little back to the beginning of Bush time, of George Bush time?
George W. Bush.
Yeah, George W. Bush. I'm saying that from that point on, we started to have all kinds of troubles, all kinds of problems. Of course, there had been international terrorists or terrorism ever since history started, right? How come, starting that point on, we kind of turned into the focus of their target or their range of shooting or range of attacking, though? From that on, we have two wars. We have Iraq wars, we have Afghanistan wars, so on and so forth. And then with the tail dragging too long into history and even into nowadays that we want somebody to take care of. Obama tried, now Hillary Clinton, and then now everybody else talking about it. So, well, your comment about the thrill, please.
Well, the U.S. has been the leading power for so long, and they forgot sometimes that they can be thinking bigger than the reality. In other words, sometimes the other countries is using the word exceptionist.
Okay.
And so, they basically, the U.S. say, I'm number one, okay, I'm the most powerful, I do what I want to do. But it's not necessarily correct when 5 to 10 years after,
but I did it.
Like Iraq war, like Afghanistan war. Now we're looking back, you know what? Should we go to war or not? Historians will tell you probably not. So I think this is very important. The U.S. will realize that how they will work with other nations, respect other nations' opinion and ideas, while still leading the world into the correct direction.
That exactly leads to my worry about Donald Trump. If he takes position, though, he will probably follow the Bush administration, all right, George W. Bush, and go ahead and say, he said, quote unquote, we should learn from what to walk from negotiation tables, right? We should let them pay for their national defense, which are, of course, true, though. Would that mean that Donald Trump would lead us to another war or something?
Well, I think it's a little bit differently. Let me tell you why. Donald Trump is drastically different from George W. Bush. First, he has tasted the failure in his life. You know, he has filed multiple bankruptcy.
Yeah, 3,000 some lawsuits.
Yeah. So he knows the hardship
and within the
to be able to survive.
There are 1,700. He was a plaintiff, there are 1,300 he was in defendant.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing that he also said multiple times he hates wars. He does not like wars.
Better to hate wars.
Yeah. He said, why do we squandering billions and billions of dollars in wars for nothing?
Yeah.
That's his own word.
Yeah, all right, good,
So
good.
I don't think Donald Trump and George W. Bush is the same. Donald Trump looks reckless from time to time, but when you look at his children, his business, when he calmed down, I don't think he's reckless. But he is a wild card. I totally agree with you.
Provided he has to pick Dick Cheney for vice president.
I don't think
Because
he will pick Dick Cheney. No.
Dick Cheney has lots of to say with all the contractors, war contractors. Okay, anyway, we're over time, my dear audience. We're way over time. I forgot tracking, but it's a good thing that indicates how much we enjoyed talking, sharing those wonderful points. My dear audiences, with my good friend, Dr. Fu, we're having some wonderful time. I wish that during the election, before the election day, you will come back another time, will you? Please.
Okay, we'll see. Okay.
That's a promise?
All right, okay.
My audiences, that's a promise. Thank you for watching, and thank you for coming here, and thank you for sharing.
Okay, thank you, Jack. Thank you. Okay, it's good to be here.
All right, good.